What's up guys, so Pokemon fans out there, CoroCoro was finally leaked the other day and we finally have the news that we've been waiting for. They announced a new form for Zygarde and there's actually multiple forms as well and they look pretty cool. And the current form of Zygarde that we know is actually known as 50% Zygarde, and then there's this dog-like form which is 10% Zygarde. Then there's a blob and flat version which we actually saw earlier on in the year at the end of this year's movie a little while ago, and that is the core and cell of Zygarde. And then we have the final form which is known as the perfect form, and this just looks insane. It's huge and it just looks crazy. So it's been said that it's supposed to have more power than Xerneas and Yveltal, and looking at it, it does look like it's got like the little red and blue stripes which suggest it has something to do with them. And when you look at the middle of the perfect form, the first thing I saw was that it actually looks a bit like a Sableye. I don't know if that's just me, but it's just funny because it's got like the little eyes and the little head shape, but I think its head's actually on top, which looks cool as well. But to me it just looked like a Sableye. It had like a load of stuff strapped onto it. And this news was announced in relation to the new anime series that airs this October, and it's actually called X, Y and Z. And this plus Zygarde's new forms basically confirms that Pokémon Z is going to happen and probably will be released next year as part of the 20th anniversary. In terms of the anime being called X, Y and Z, I'm not saying that the game is going to be called Z, but it would be really cool if maybe it was called X, Y, Z. I really hope it's not going to be called X, Z and Y, Z. A bit like Black 2 and White 2, but I guess we'll wait and see. And this is what I'm really excited about because obviously next year is the 20th anniversary of the series and we have the Pokemon tournament at the start of the year, and they just announced Pokemon Go, which is an app for smartphones and you can go out and catch Pokemon in the real world. I'm not too sure how that's going to work, but it sounds like a cool idea. And obviously they still had to announce a new game for next year for the main series, and I really hope that it would be Pokemon Z. And I don't think that Generation 6 has finished or should have finished with the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, because I feel like there was loads of potential still to go back to Kalos and have a Z version of the game where there's different features, or even just sometime in the future or something. I've always loved that about the series, how you always get like the two main games and then the next game with added bits, and some people might complain about that. For example, with Generation 5 they had Black and White and then Black and White 2, and it wasn't as good for me, so I prefer a standalone third game. But yeah, X and Y are one of my favourite games, and I feel like it's great that we could go back to Kalos in the Z game and have all these new things. And when they released Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they had all these new Mega Evolutions, but obviously you can't use them ones in X and Y, and so I think Z would be a great game to include all parts of both of the games back into Kalos, because Kalos is kind of where Mega Evolution started. And to be honest, the perfect Z game for me would be if we went back to Kalos and had an X and Y style game, but maybe in the future with different bits, and then go over to Hoenn as part of the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, and then in the end go to Battle Frontier, which was kind of hinted at in the Ruby and Sapphire remakes but never really happened. And I always thought it might have been a DLC or something, or an Emerald style game, but that didn't happen. Oh my god, what if they included an Emerald remake in Pokemon Z? I mean, Z's green, Emerald's green. Instead of having a Ruby and Sapphire remake included in it, they could just have a brand new Emerald style version and then put Battle Frontier at the end. How cool would that be? Oh my god. And so basically what I'm saying is, I think for the anniversary next year they really should do something to please the fans and either include Hoenn in the Z game, and if not, just include Battle Frontier at the end, which would just be amazing for me. Another thing which would be cool for Pokemon Z in terms of Mega Evolution is if they announce more Mega Evolutions, and so this third game in the installment would have all three waves of Mega Evolution. You've got X and Y, then the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, and then the Z versions, and you can use all of them in Z, because I know a lot of people complained about being able to battle with them online and stuff, and so you'd be able to do all of it in Z. And so I'm really happy that we finally have some sort of news regarding Pokemon Z or Zygarde, because Zygarde always looked kind of unfinished and it's likely that they were going to do something with him, but we didn't know anything for sure, and some people were speculating that we were already moving on to Generation 7, which I wasn't too happy about and I didn't think was going to happen anyway. But I'm really excited and just happy that we should hopefully get Pokemon Z, because obviously this has just been leaked and isn't official news, so we kind of need to take it with a grain of salt, but it's likely that it's going to happen anyway, especially next year for the 20th anniversary. In terms of the Pokemon trading card game, it might have been obvious that they were going to do a Pokemon Z or different style of form of Zygarde, because they haven't released one Zygarde card, but there's been multiple Diancie and Hoopa cards, and they come after Zygarde in the Pokédex, and it's just odd how they haven't announced anything. So they might have been waiting for a Pokemon Z style game or different forms of Zygarde before they released any Zygarde cards. Speaking of other rumours though, people were saying like, oh, next year for the 20th anniversary it'll be Generation 7. Some people thought there'd be a Diamond and Pearl remake, which is just ludicrous to me because we've just had Generation 3 remakes. And if we are still only on Generation 6, a Generation 4 remake would just be too early, because we would suddenly be then, oh, Generation 5 remake and then 6, and we've just had Generation 6 be released, so it's a bit too early for me. Also, in terms of Generation 7, I think it would be best if that was released on the NX instead of rushing it onto the 3DS, kind of like what happened with Generation 5, because I'm not really a fan of having two generations on one console, and because the NX is probably going to be released earlier than we thought originally, it seems likely that they should probably wait until that's released for Generation 7 and finish off Generation 6 properly on the 3DS. Another thing which I think would be cool for Pokémon Z is if they introduce new Pokémon, because Generation 6 had the least amount of new Pokémon, and instead of having like a load of generic clones like Generation 5, they only released a small amount for Generation 6, and so maybe over the last few years they've had more time to develop new ideas and then release them as Pokemon Z to complete Generation 6, which I think would be a cool idea. I think this and the inclusion of Hoopa and possible other legendaries that haven't been announced yet would be a great way to round off Generation 6. Another rumour for the anniversary is that they might do a Pokemon Yellow remake for the 3DS, which would be quite cool, and obviously we didn't have a Yellow remake back in Generation 3, we only had Fire Red and Leaf Green. However, me and my brother were discussing it, and he came up with an idea, maybe if they did a Yellow remake but in 3D for the Wii U perhaps. For the anniversary, that would be like one of the best things ever, to actually be able to play the full Yellow game in 3D on the Wii U. In a similar sort of style to Colosseum and XD, but the proper Yellow game where you can catch Pokemon, not just catch Shadow Pokemon. Speaking of Colosseum and XD, why not just box them together into one game, remake them in HD and put them out for the Wii U? That would be so cool as well, I would love that. Or have a third installment in the game and then box all three together in one package for the Wii U. I think that would be a cool idea. So yeah, there's all these different rumours flying about for the anniversary, and I think it's really cool to speculate and to see what they might do, and I really hope they do impress, because looking at what we've got so far, the Pokemon tournament, the graphics on that look so good. Why can't they just include that in a Wii U style game? It would be so amazing. And then they've got obviously Pokemon Go and this new game, possibly Pokemon Z, and different things happening, so it would be really cool just to see what they're going to do next year. It's going to be a big year. I'm just really excited for it, and I'm so glad we finally have this announcement for Zygarde, and I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Zygarde forms or a possible Z game, or anything I've discussed in this video if you think might come true, or if you think it's a stupid idea. And any ideas that you might have for the anniversary would be cool to hear as well. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you can't wait for the 20th anniversary. And I post videos every week, so subscribe if you don't want to miss any of them. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.